CT over the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be reviewing Love After Lockup. So, it was a good show last night. I don't know. What did you guys think? Did you watch it? So, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna have my little, little something to drink, just relax in bed, watch this show, and I'm thinking, they were messing with us basically with the introduction, or not the introduction, but like the previews from the other season, or sorry, from the other episode. And I was thinking to myself, like, it's not going to be like as dramatic as they're making it seem, with Monique and Derek and stuff like that. But honey, it paid off last night, so let's talk about it. So I just want to remind you guys that I am here to entertain you guys. Thank you so much for all my new subscribers. Thank you guys for giving thumbs up and leaving your comments and stuff like that. I'm here at least twice a week to give you reviews, and on top of that, this is going to be brought to you from a native perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's get into it. All right. So we start off the episode with what's her name? Skylar. So she was freaking out last week, right? Because well, first of all, I hope everybody can hear me okay. I got a new little piece of equipment here, because sometimes YouTube and like the lives, they try and play me crazy, so I gotta like up my equipment. So anyway, hopefully you can hear me okay. If not, let me know in the comment section. But anyway, so yeah, we have Skylar. Now she walks into the house. She was flipping out because she was thinking, oh my God, like, where is he? Why is he answering his phone? He's not answering his text messages. And it seems like she was gone for about maybe 4 hours or something like that. And they make it seem like, as soon as she walks in, we're gonna find him like, with somebody or something. But basically all he was doing was sleeping. So now I do wonder, like, was it more of a case where he's, just kind of taking advantage of getting some downtime because he's now having to entertain her all the time? Or is this more of like, he was doing something and he got the house like real quiet and clean and everything. Not clean, but you know what I mean, like situated enough to make it seem like, oh, I wasn't doing anything but sleeping. I don't know. It's just like, I think maybe he's just taking a nap, but we'll find out more about that anyway. But they're kind of boring, right? I mean, are you guys finding them entertaining? I want to see a little bit more, because I know her mom is like concerned that, he's going to get her down the wrong path and stuff like that. And it very well could happen. All right, so let's go over to Michael and Justine. So Michael's mom is still salty, with Michael about his whole situation with Justine, and the mom is upset that he's going to be leaving the kids with her. Now, this is where I got a little bit confused, you guys, because I thought to myself, I was like, so okay, she's mad because he's leaving the kids behind with her. But then he clarified later on that the kids do live with their mother. And part of like what he's going through emotionally is, feeling torn up because now, he just got out of prison, but he can't spend the amount of time he wants to with his kids because, they live with their mother in Rhode Island, and he's living with his wife in Pennsylvania. But, I mean, unfortunately, these are the things, that happen. I mean, and I think Mike is a cautionary tale to a lot of people because, he's not like this overly, seemingly aggressive guy. I mean, well, listen, we're still getting to know him, right? But the way he comes off, he doesn't seem like overly aggressive or anything. He can express himself in a very, like a way that's, it's a relatable way. And when he's saying like, I'm hurt about my kids and I'm hurt about my relationship with my dad and stuff like that, he's relatable in some ways, right? Whether you're from his neighborhood or his ethnic background or his family makeup or whatever, just as a human being, something is very relatable when he talks about his children and his family altogether, right? So I mean, I feel he's a cautionary tale because I feel like people could look at him and be like, gosh, I didn't even really think about stuff like that. Yeah, when you get out of jail, this and that, but think about how parole affects your life. Because once you do a crime, you think you're done, but parole can really mess you up. It can prevent you from moving to the states you want to, as we're seeing with some of the cast members here. So anyway, Justine, she has a face-to-face with her mother-in-law, but and I was thinking maybe they're going to be able to hash things out, but it seems like it got a little bit worse. And now Mike's mom is feeling like he has to basically, or like she has to kind of reestablish trust with Justine, because she's feeling like you're not who I thought you were. Because now I see that you can pop off on me and act like, you like I'm somebody out in the streets when I'm actually your mother-in-law. Is this little hair bothering you guys? you know, Curls, honey, they just do whatever the hell they want to. Anyway, so I'll keep messing with that. I listen. I did hair for a long time, guys. So I'm very into the beautician arts. Okay. So anyway, all right. Now we're going to Cameron and Aris. So they go to the recording studio, and he announces his plans to marry. And he's reuniting with his friends or whatever, and they're looking at him like, married, like what? And what killed me is like she wore that little booby shirt to the recording studio. I was like, girl, that is really like an off camera in the house, cleaning up, on a Sunday kind of outfit. Like, I mean, it's cute. Don't get me wrong. It's a very cute shirt, but it's, you don't wear that. I don't know. That maybe I'm old fashioned, call me old fashioned. You don't wear that in front of a bunch of guys. You're meeting your soon to be, husband's friends with like a booby shirt. Fashion critique. We cannot get through an episode without my fashion critiques. Sorry, people. And listen, I'm not a fashion diva myself, but I do enjoy the fashions. But I mean, just certain things are kind of like very inappropriate. But that's why we watch this show, because it's absolutely bad. Crazy, right? And we just like to see all the craziness. So anyway, all right. So enough of that. So he starts giving a little sample of his skills. He starts spitting some rhymes. He starts, da 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 da. And you know what? Listen, I'm sorry, I wasn't impressed. Okay, I just wasn't. Oh no, I froze. All right, sorry, got frozen there for a second. Thank you for hanging in there. So anyway, yeah, so he's like doing his rhymes and stuff like that. And I guess, he really feels like he has a lucrative future in the rapping industry. It's just like, I understand, okay, you're behind bars, you have a lot of free time, and maybe a lot of extra paper and a pencil. You want to get your ideas all, out of your mind and like onto a piece of paper. It's a constructive way to use your time. I think it is. I mean, because it's poetry at the end of the day, but I think coming out, thinking you're going to be a rapper is a little bit of an unrealistic thing. I mean, some of them do it. I mean, I can't knock it all, but I just, doesn't hurt to see if they're hiring at Costco or someplace that might hire a felon, because there is, restrictions and limitations because of your record. So moving on from that. So now we're going to get to go back to Nathan and Skylar. So, oh my God. All right. So they're out there having a nice dinner. And her phone's going off and stuff like that. She's on her phone. She answers a call. And then he grabs the phone. And, basically it's her friend, and he starts going off. Now, listen, we already knew that Nathan looks like a little bit of uh, a ticking time bomb. I'm sorry, he just does. Now, Nathan, listen. Nathan, he's a nice looking guy. If he just kind of cleans himself up a little bit or whatever, he seems like he'd be doing okay. But I just think that, I mean, and she's a nice looking girl. I mean, visually, they're a nice looking couple, but I think that's about where it stops. I think they should not be together. I think, he just always seems like he's about to just go off, like the way he was just like, remember how he was like, was it last week when he kept, like looking, like he couldn't look her in the eye, and he was like really upset. You could just imagine he's probably just like shaking his, ankle underneath like the little cafe restaurant or something. Seems like he's just doing like this, like, oh, I gotta get out of here, I gotta get out of here, because he spilled coffee on his shirt. Like, he needs a lot of therapy. He needs to learn how to channel. See, he's a very good example of someone who could easily go this way or go that way, right? Because where he's at now, he's rebuilding. If he gets into some therapy and learns how to channel, maybe find some kind of hobby, maybe baseball, something where you can crack a bat, or something physical where you can get, like stuff off your chest. Maybe he needs something like that. I don't know. I'm not a therapist, but, it just seems like he's always like one incident away from really like going there. So anyway, he's going off on her and stuff like that. And she's like, well, what's going on? Like, it's just my friend. And I think that, and he's like trying to get her he walks away, right? And then her friend comes over to the table, somebody who she knew from the past, I guess it's a small town or whatever, and takes a shot. And, now he's on the phone with her. He can hear that the guy's at the table. He's getting upset and everything. And, he comes back to the table. He's like, I need you to get out of here now. I'm trying not to go back to my old ways. That's why I really want you to get out of here so that we can be safe. And, I don't have to go off. You think I'm a punk. You think I'm a PUSSY. Like, I mean, he is just so like 1 second away from going to jail. He's just a phone call. All somebody has to do is be like, yes, officer, I'm at this, hold on. They'll be like, officer, I'm at this restaurant, and this guy looks like he is about to jump off right now. It's about to go down. All they got to do is swoop in, and then she's going to be in trouble, right? Because neither one of them are on parole, but very easily they could wind up back in prison. So I just felt like, why is she hanging out with this guy? And she's saying like, I need to leave you because you're gonna, I'm gonna wind up, or she said in the confessional, she's afraid that she will wind up using again. And that can happen if she feels like she's in a very tight situation. Why does she not go home to her mother to begin with? The woman who virtually had an entire, young Miss Ladies department in her trunk from TJ Maxx. The woman wants to take care of her daughter. But you know how it is. You're grown. You think you know everything. You want to do it on your own. So you decide, okay, I'm going to do this with this guy that only saw 4 or 5 times before I even went in. But we're seeing with like in situations with Nathan and what's her name, and Skylar. Oh my God, you guys know I'm so bad with names. Nathan and Skylar and Monique and Derek, that there seems to be like an imminent danger. Like they're constantly being put in situations where it's like, this is not so safe. I mean, Monique, it's a little bit of a different situation. Monique is responding to harassment that she's getting, but still, any sort of action that she takes, or any kind of action that Nathan can take, can wind them up in trouble. But especially for Derek, because he is on parole and he's wearing that ankle monitor. So anyway, that's enough about them. Nathan and Skylar, they're putting me to sleep. I have to be honest, but I feel like somebody's going to go to jail pretty soon if they don't kind of, knock off all the nonsense. So, all right. So Cameron and Eris. So Cameron, is sitting here and she's talking about like, what she wants to say to her daughter and everything like that, and break it to her daughter because apparently, what's his name? Or no, I'm sorry. No. You know what? I'm getting confused, you guys, because I forget. Because there's an heiress on this show, and there's also an heiress on Married at First Sight. Sorry, this heiress, which is the woman, and Cameron is the guy. Like these are both kind of like androgynous names. You could use it for both people, right? So, heiress. She is finally just now deciding that, okay, well, I guess I got to really think about how my daughter's going to feel about this, because she's only had telephone calls with Cameron and stuff like that, and maybe it'll be too soon. Her daughter, who's way brighter than she is. I mean, come on, that little girl, she was beautiful and she was very intelligent. And, I mean, some people, they just don't use their critical thinking skills when it comes to finding a partner. And a lot of us are guilty of that. But this is just, there's so much more at stake when there's a kid. So I'm just like, so now you want to like be concerned about what she's going to think. Where did all this concern come from when you initially reached out to him? But now she was saying, now this was interesting, and maybe I didn't write this down in the very first episode, but she was saying in the studio, or no, was it in the studio or later on when she meets the sisters? Anyway, she was saying that she met him on Facebook. And I was like, oh, okay, so did she not go to like a prison website? So maybe that's what was different about this situation. She, kind of like Justine, not necessarily looking for an inmate, but wind up finding one nonetheless. So anyway, so now it's time to go to the courthouse, and he has to figure out because he has to go for a parole visit. So he's got to figure out what's going to happen. Like, how am I going to, explain where I want to live and stuff like this? And is this ever even going to happen? Because she lives in Florida and she wants him to parole with her down in Florida, which is, I think, for the reason for the haste in his marriage proposal. So when he gets there, he comes out and he tells her, well, basically, we have to wait another 60 days before we can even find out if I can go to Florida or not. So how is this working with her daughter, right? Because she has a daughter who's what is she like? She looks like she's like 9 or 10 years old. I don't remember how old she is, but anyway, um, so 60 days. So is she going to be away from her child for 60? Like I'm not, or are they going to do something long distance? I'm not sure how this is supposed to work out here. So now it's time for them to go get basically married, right? Go get the, or at least get the marriage license. They were at the courthouse. It was like a 2-for-1 special, you know. So anyway, we'll find out later on if he's going to be able to go to Florida or not. But you know, I'm just, you know, he's thinking it's going to be a better environment for her, for him, because he won't be tempted by his old friends and, you know, maybe old hangout spots and stuff like that. And that's a possibility, but he also will not have a support system outside of her if and when he does decide to move to Florida. So I'm not sure, but I mean, they seem like they're really going to try and give it a go. So, I mean, you guys know how I feel about these marriages, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever. So now let's go over to, okay, because we're gonna do Monique and Derek last, because that, honey, there's a lot to talk about in that situation. Okay. So oh goodness, I didn't even realize you could see that. So all right, let me scoot over here. So okay, like I said, I was gonna just if you haven't seen my previous videos, when it comes to Gabby and Chris, I just drop in and do like a little bit here and there. I don't like to do too much because of, you know, everything that happened, you know, his situation where he's at now, because he's currently incarcerated. Spoiler alert, sorry, I guess I should have said spoiler alert first. For those who don't know, he is back in jail as of right now. But so what we find out from this episode, and this goes back to like a few episodes ago. Remember when her mom was like in full cognito at the store, right? And she goes to visit her mom at her mom's job, and she hands her mom an envelope. I think that's what was in the envelope. I think it was about her case. Because remember, the mom says when she gives her the envelope, she's like, "You better talk to a lawyer." Like, you know, she's got one of those rules. It's very like New York, New Jersey, right? Not like, oh man, okay, really, man, what happened? She's like, you better get a lawyer. I don't know what to tell you, right? So I think this is what we're about to embark upon. So, you know, the whole situation, he's upset about, you know, he can't drive, or he wants to be able to, you know, get a ride, and he's still taking train rides and stuff like that, even though she's been driving around in this, I think it was a BMW for all these months, like when she was on the show when he was in prison, and all of a sudden now he's home, he's got to take the train. And she's like, oh, I can't drive, whatever. And because the car is like being repaired, she's lying. I mean, she lies a lot, and you know, we know that about Gabby, so we kind of accept that to a certain extent. But you know, what came to us as a surprise, or came as a surprise, and this was out on the streets though, and I did hear about this, but I didn't know it was true. But she confirmed it. She may be going to jail. It's possible, or at least at this point, and that's because she had something happen with her cousin, and I wonder if this is the same cousin that filmed what went down, what Chris did when he did what he did to her. I wonder if that's the same cousin, because it seems like she's getting in trouble with this cousin, or this cousin is not, this cousin seems like, I don't know what's going on with this cousin. So, you know, she gets in some trouble. She has some legal issues. She doesn't want to go into too much detail about it, but something about her and something she did to a cop, allegedly, supposedly, I don't know, but she does have a case. So she goes to see her lawyer, and her lawyer is basically, you know, she goes and makes it seem like, oh, she has some unpaid traffic tickets. Oh, okay. Oh, and then she goes, oh, but I also have like a suspended license. Oh, but also, by the way, I have a case that's being looked at by what's the name of those people? She said the Superior Court case, I guess is what she called it. I don't know what's going on with my face. So he's like, oh, okay. So he's thinking at first this is about like traffic tickets and stuff, and this is like way more than that. And he's like, oh, well, you shouldn't even be driving, and you know, stuff like that. So, you know, Gabby's got a whole thing going on, and we'll have to find out what's going on with her. But now she's acting like, you know, she has to break the news to Chris or whatever, and you know, and now he's probably like, well, damn, you know, where's my support system? I thought I had you to lean on. You were going to be my rock, but you know, apparently I don't know. Like she may be going to jail, so she has her own case now. So that's it. That's enough. I'm done talking about those two. They've occupied enough time of mine on the screen. Okay, so now we're going back to Cameron and Eris. So he decides he wants to visit his sisters, and this is their first reunion since he's come out of prison. Now, it's his younger and older sister, from what he said. And let me tell you, that one sister, boy, I'm telling you, some families, genetics are just strong. Can we just talk about that for 1 second? Him and that younger sister, or I don't know if she's the younger or the older sister, but the one with the short haircut, they look just alike. Even like the facial expressions and stuff like that. It was really funny. I was like, I can tell they grew up in the same household. Just like Chris looks like exactly like his mom, right? And yeah, Cameron looks exactly like his sister. So they had their reunion and it was very nice. And I do think that they were very nice to or no, Eris, right? I think they were very nice to her, and they seem welcoming. He seems like he comes from a good family in terms of support. Kind of like how Michael, you got that that hood support, right? He seems like he has a nice family, like they care about him and everything like that. I like that they express interest in Eris's daughter, and kind of talking a little bit of sense, like, okay, so I know he's a good guy, but what did you think about like introducing your daughter to my brother? With his situation being what it is. I really, really liked his sisters, and they seem like they're not about that drama, but they were saying, okay, well, we'll give it a chance, but hopefully we don't have to do any pop-ups, no pop-ups. They're gonna come to that door at night and and maybe have to have a couple of words if things don't, if they feel like Eris is like getting on his nerves or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that was kind of funny. They're cute. I can't really, I'm not good at imitating all the whatever, but I feel like, they're handling it. I mean, they know that he's rushing into it, and I just like the way they handled it. I don't know. They weren't raising their voices or anything like that, but they were really bringing some, like very realistic and very honest and very appropriate questions for the type of situation that they found themselves to be in. So I mean, I'm with it. I'm with the sisters. I'm with them. I'm very team Cameron's sisters. So now let's go to oh goodness, let's go to Monique and Derek, because that's that's what this whole episode was all about. Let me tell you something. I think, how do I say this? I feel as though Monique is gonna be like one of Love After Lockup's breakout stars, because I mean she has garnered so much attention. Like, when you go on to Instagram and stuff like that, I mean she's like, people are watching for her. And I think the whole like Justine and Michael storyline, because it's hopeful, I think is another kind of like a breakout. Because remember how we had Tracy and Clint? Oh my God! Remember Clint's mom? Oh, that was, rest in peace, Tracy. That was, oh my God, that was terrible. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here for Monique and Derek. Okay, so let's get back into that. I tend to sidetrack. So our new breakout star, we return back to her, honey, and she is in full speed during her absolute complete, what do you call it, a high speed chase, right? She's going down the highway. She's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. And they're like, just make a right, just turn a left. And she's like, I think I'm gonna pull over. No, I'm not gonna pull over. Let me call the police. And Derek's like, don't call the police, cause don't call him. And she's like, but I'm the victim, so I think it's your sisters, but I don't know. Oh my God, it was like, this was kind of intense. Like, I felt, listen, Now we all know, for the people that are just tuning in for the first time, I do kind of go in a little bit on Monique's, on her attitude, because I don't like the hidden cameras and all of that stuff. I think it's too much. But in this moment, I really felt for her, because imagine being in a car, you're being chased, and yeah, she pops off a lot here, but she's not. I don't think she's. I mean, she doesn't seem like she's much of a fighter. You know what I mean? And I was like that too, right? I was that kid in school, that I would talk a lot of shit, but I would never, and I mean, I don't mean like talking stuff about, behind people's back or whatever, but if you said something to me, oh no, I had a very slick tongue, honey. I would go off on you. But what I couldn't do was this, because I didn't come from a family that fought. I grew up in a family with six of my cousins, and let me tell you something, never once in all their days did anybody come home from a fight. Like, it just, we didn't see it. There were no fights on the block. It didn't happen. So it kind of, I kind of related to her in that moment, like just being scared, and you know how to talk your talk, but you can't really do anything. So like, she's just driving and driving, and I felt as though, like, you know, what is she supposed to do in this moment? And like, she's got all these people talking to her at the same time, so she doesn't know what to do. And it was a little bit messed up. But what the most messed up part about all of this is that once it was all said and done, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so scared, Derek. I don't know what to do. Once they were like, okay, and the producer's like, okay, make a right and then another right, gonna make four rights, and then we'll lose them. Oh, I think they're behind the traffic light. I think we lost. It was just like, it was a complete high speed chase. It was like an episode of Cops, like with like a GoPro camera or something like that. And I said to myself, oh my God, like, is she going to get into an accident? Because they're like, slow down, and she doesn't know what to do. A lot of people would not know what to do in a situation where there's a high speed chase. You don't know who it is behind you. But, what is more tragic about this situation is that Derek, okay, he has the nerve, once all is like, said and done, and, they finally lost their tail. He says that on camera that, he's hiding something from her, and that, if she finds out, it's going to like destroy his world or whatever. But he had to pretend like he didn't know who it was, but he really did know who it was, because according to Monique, when they were in the parking lot before that car started following them, that same car was in the parking lot, parked right next to them, and someone in opened up the door and said, "Hey, Derek." And there were some women in the car, which is why she was convinced that those are his sisters. But he said in that confessional, go ahead, let me just go ahead and let her believe that those were my sisters. But he really knows who they are, or who they were. So, man, oh man, we have got to find out what's going on. So what do you guys think? I mean, do you think this is like a baby's mama situation? Do you think this is like an ex? Do you think this is somebody else that he's been talking to while he's in prison? Because I feel as though that, I mean, people do, listen, okay, I do feel that he is, do I feel there's some usury going on? Absolutely, I do. But I do feel that I am convinced that there's some level of attraction. And I feel as though, he looks at her and he's attracted to her to some extent. Okay. I feel like maybe that she's not maybe 100% what he was expecting in the beginning, but I do think he's kind of into her. So, but having said that, even though I feel that he's into her, I feel as though there was some, come on, listen, they play the field when when they're in prison, and they have like several people that write to them and buy them gifts and stuff like that, and that's definitely, I think, the majority of what he is getting out of this relationship is the gifts and the money, and, and helping him get on his feet. I don't think this is going to last forever. But I do think that, there are possibly some other people who were doing the same sort of things for him, maybe while he was in jail. I mean, it's very hard for me to believe that, they only have one person holding them down in prison. They all talk about it, that like, that's what they do. You got one writing to you, got one visiting you, if you're in a state with conjugal visit, maybe you're married to one of them, you can have your relations, your sexuals and all that stuff. I have no idea. I mean, but I do think that I think there's some other woman involved. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, put it in the comment section. I have no idea. But it seems like next week is going to be very good. I'm really excited. It was a good episode last night. Did you guys like it too? So, do you guys think that, well, considering with Gabby and Chris and all their real life drama, what's going on, I get it feels like at this point they're going to continue this storyline all the way until the last episode. But we're coming up pretty soon to the new season. And it looks like, what is it going to be? Love during? No, not love during. What is it? It's love after lockup, love during lockup, and what is it? Life after lockup, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I know that Derek and Monique, from what I saw in the previews, I think they're going to be on the next season. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. But yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, Derek does. I mean, he comes to Monique's defense. I think there is something there. I think there is something there, but I just, it's not like a Michael and Justine kind of relationship, right? Because I mean, it's just it's a whole different situation. But I mean, I think that Derek needs to keep in mind that, you know, he's got that thing. He has that hardware on his wrist, or sorry, on his wrist, on his ankle, and he cannot like get caught out there. That whole high speed chase situation could have easily landed him back in prison like that. It really could have. And I mean, he has to really assess this whole war between his sisters and Monique and where that can land him. I mean, you know, if he was really about it, why not move to Chicago with her, right? But no, 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 no. He doesn't even want her moving up there with him. So we'll see what happens. I just thought this was just so crazy and so like potentially dangerous for Nathan and Skylar and Monique and Derek. This just was not a good situation. So you guys let me know what you think. I'm going to be coming in during the week, maybe doing some polls or something. So you guys be on the lookout for that. I do have a poll up right now. If you guys go to my community page, I also have some playlists. Oh yeah, I almost forgot before I go, I do have playlists, so you guys can go into my little catalog of different videos. So if you want to watch Love After Lockup or Married at First Sight, they'll be on their own list, so you don't have to sort through all the different videos. So hopefully that'll make it easier for you. And yeah, try if you're interested, go. I have a poll up. I want to know who you guys think are going to stay together, and I have some couples that are listed. You guys can check that on the community tab. And yeah, I think that's about it, right? Have we talked enough? I think I've talked enough. All right. So anyway, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you're having a lovely Saturday, and I will catch you next week for Felon Friday, and we will reconvene at that time. So anyway, take care, stay safe, and chipi salacho.